YouTube, it's your boy Witchy here, coming at you with some more Age of Empires 3 Definitive Edition. And we finally have the update in. The February update is here with the, I think it's the Year of the Tiger for the Chinese. So there's been a huge sort of change to the menu screen. So when you update your game, it's going to look really, really nice for you. And hopefully it's going to get you involved in the Asian civilizations and especially the Chinese, because there's a lot of changes to that and we're going to be going straight through them right now. So this is the update screen right here, 61213. And let's have a quick flick through this. I'm not going to go through absolutely everything. I'm not going to do it because there's a lot of stuff like UI sort of bug fixes and stuff like that, which is basically pointless. So let's get straight into it. The build spotlight, which is all around the Lunar New Year 2022 events. And we do see a few more profile pictures that you can sort of get. You can also get a few skins for the Chinese as well. And these are the challenges. And you must unlock these on separate days, so you can't do them all in one go. So this is a really easy one. A lot of these you can do just against a computer player, to be honest with you. And you've got to obviously be logged into the Xbox store, so you've got to have your Xbox account. And you can do these and you can get some cool skins and stuff like that. So, and you can keep it forever. It says if you sign into Xbox Live at any point, you get to keep all the mods and profiles you unlock. Sign in, earn rewards, and enjoy. There's a few questions there. And we're going to get on to the good bit. China has 7 new cards, and let's see how good these ones are and whether or not they are going to be able to be used in the upcoming meta. We're going to be seeing how China plays. So I definitely think this card definitely will be. I want to try this out, the T export. So you ship 1 consulate rickshaw. This is an age 1 card, and you get 100 export to spend straight away, and it grants a steady trickle of exports as well, which is really, really nice. So definitely something around this will be really interesting. Maybe getting this as your second card, making sure that you build a TP in transition maybe to 1 and 2, because you're going to be wanting to use as many cards as possible. And yeah, I think something cool could be done here with the export, with the consulate. You could probably use it to get some eco bonuses if you go for like Germany or for France. And you could obviously use the British allying as well to also get some military units. So a lot to think about there. Next one is Year of the Tiger, age 1 again. For each 2 disciples you have lost, a pet white tiger will be mustered. I don't really know how useful that's going to be, to be honest. So we shall see. The Year of the Dragon, which is age 3. Each town centre will muster 1 flamethrower and each village will muster 1 monitor lizard. Now, I'm not too sure how powerful these monitor lizards are. This card is an interesting one. I'm not too sure how useful it's going to be. Obviously, you do tend to build multiple TCs as China, but that's more of a late game card, and I don't know whether or not there'll just be better cards available to you. The flamethrower units are okay. I'm not too sure whether or not they're obviously not going to be shadow teched, I don't think, so that'll be probably whatever tech you have the map. So I'm not too sure if that's going to be really, really good. It does say ships 1 flying crow and 2 honored. Wait, oh, this is the fire dragon one, right? Yeah, sorry. The fire dragon manual, age 4. So activates the discipline and honored upgrades for the flamethrower. So that's really good. That's quite a nice card. And the flying crow rate of fire is improved and the flamethrower. So this one might be okay. I think this one will definitely be used in treaty. 100%, because, you know, artillery pieces are treasured, you could say, a lot more in treaty-based games. So I think the Fire Dragon manual will most likely be used more in treaty than supremacy. Let's have a look at this one. Kochinga, I think, ships 11 iron troops and significantly improves their ranged rate of fire. This card could be quite a good one. Now, it all depends on, you know, how many iron troops you can muster and you can get out. But this gives you 11 of them and it improves their rate of fire permanently. So this could be definitely a card that you want to have in your arsenal, especially for both supremacy and treaty games. I think that's a really good one. 1 flying crow, it just ships 1 flying crow. Easy as that. I don't know whether that's going to be 100% useful. I don't know whether people are going to be using that or not. I'm not too sure. This one is one that I think could definitely be used. You get a flamethrower and a castle rickshaw. I think that's really good for sort of securing a lot of the map. You can use the castle to gain more map control, and especially the fact that you can get it in age 2 is really nice. You know, I think that's this is an okay card, and I would probably start to see some of these in people's decks as we play the game. So there's a few cards there that I think are really good. So going through into game now, the stability and performance improved the game startup times. I did just start the game and it actually did load up pretty fast. I did realize that. There is an overhaul of UI and model assets, loading for memory usage optimizations, fixing crashes and stuff like that. So hopefully Wait, fix a crash that would occur when viewing the playback of a recorded game when it was set to loop. Okay, so I'm hoping that there still hasn't been anything around audio. Let's see if there is anything, because there was some issues with replays and stuff while they were going silent. So let's have a look. The audio fixed an issue, caused Civilization jingles to be cut short when the game starts. Villagers now have voice lines when building walls. Added voice lines, fixed an issue. So yeah, it doesn't look like there's anything changed with watching replays. I still get sort of strange audio glitches when I'm watching more than one replay and I have to restart my game, which is kind of frustrating. So it doesn't look like that's been fixed. There's a bunch of UI changes here. Lots of things that they've changed. So I'm not going to go through all of those. You guys can have a look at that. Hotkeys. No, just some various hotkey changes. Nothing special. Gameplay, moving on to fixes. Villagers can now build a building from any angle without the need to walk to a specific spot on a building foundation. That's really good. So that's really going to sort of, if you want to get your build orders and openings really crisp, villagers do mess around and fumble around when building the buildings sometimes, especially when you're playing as an Asian civ and you're having to build your wonder. It can be really annoying. So that's a nice change. So hopefully that's going to be good. Warchiefs can no longer kill cattle using Eagle Eye. Okay. The Krieg Courier can now be trained in the native embassy. Fixed an issue where the mini deck UI could be open in the home city shipments view. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think that's I think I know that issue. So that's good. Aztecs, the Kamakat card now effect now reduces the age up time correctly. Okay. I didn't know that it was actually reducing it wrong, but it looks like it's sorted it out. The Big Benny and the Zebu cattle now make cattle spawn at the livestock market. Okay, nice. That's easier rather than the cattle having to move from the TC to the livestock. The Howds light cannons no longer have a limber and bombard mode button. There was never a difference between both modes. Okay, nice. Tidying it up. Indians can now send non-military cards when they're fully pop capped. Okay, nice. The Japanese, that's actually pretty good for treaty, I imagine. Very good for treaty. Japanese fixed an issue where shoguns who would die while training units would sometimes not correctly return population slots. Okay. The conscription tech now sends 12 militiamen instead of 15. I'm just having a look at anything. There's a lot of Mexican changes here. I'm not going to go through all of these extensively. United States, wagons, road eye. Okay, so that's basically it. I'm not going to go through all of it because it can get a little bit long. We don't want this video to be too long. So campaign, I'm not going to touch upon the campaign, to be honest with you guys. I'm going to get straight into the Civ balances. So the, I don't know how to say that, the Quachuan mountaineering, infantry movement speed, improvement reduced to 10%, cost improved, okay. Units and buildings, the tavern, saloon and monastery changes. The Granadero, we already looked at this, yeah, reduced to 12 from 14, and the cost has been increased. There's been a nerf to the Granaderos. Mercenary Lands Connect, the cost increased to 50. Okay. And Mercenary Gatling Camels, the good old Gatling Camels. So they've been nerfed slightly there as well. So, moving on to the Civ specific changes. And we have the British in here. This is probably the first time I've ever seen the Brits. And it's just a very, very minor change. And that is the cost increase to the manor houses. So it is now an extra 5 wood. And a lot of people think that it's not really going to change Brits that much, but I think this is probably a necessary tweak to them. They are pretty strong. We are seeing them a lot in tournaments like the FPL tournament at the moment. The Brits are swamping it at the moment. They are a very powerful civilization, and maybe making this very, very small adjustment might just bring them down just a peg so that they are with the other civs. We shall see if that has any sort of effect. The Dutch, another strong civilization, the starting resources have now been adjusted. And that's quite significant, that food reduction there. So that's going to reduce the age up time for the Dutch. I don't know how significant that will be, but 50 food is quite significant. So we'll see if that has any huge impact to the Dutch's power. Units and buildings, the bank, the build XP bounty is now adjusted. Kill XP bounty adjusted accordingly. This is actually quite significant, you know, because the Dutch really, really, you know, rely on building their banks for their XP because they don't ever really go for TPs. So the Dutch like to turtle a lot. They get their banks. They tend to get maybe 3 or 4 before getting into age 3. So that's a lot of XP there. And this is quite a significant reduction, guys. You know, that is like a 20% reduction in XP that they get from their banks. You know, even more than that. It's a little bit more than 20% reduction. That's huge. That is a big nerf to Dutch there on both the starting resources and the bank XP. So a downside for Dutch. Now let's have a look at the Chinese, because Chinese are the center of attention and there's a lot of stuff here that's changed. So let's have a look. Civ, starting resources, starting goat is now semi-fattened. So we've got more food, which means we'll be able to get a faster age up with China, which is really nice. The consulate, the German relations option is now adjusted. So in age 1, the food trickle, the export cost is reduced to 200. And the coin trickle in age 3, the trickle is increased to 1.6 from 1.25. So that's quite a significant trickle there. That's like what, maybe 2.5 vils on coin there, depending on what upgrades they've got, obviously. So that's quite nice. So this is why I think that having that age 1 card, the export trickle card, and getting the consulate rickshaw route is going to be really good for China, because it's going to save wood. You're not going to have to spend wood on building that consulate like you normally have to. So I think it's going to be really good. I think it's going to allow China to age up quicker, and I think you're going to be able to take advantage of a lot of these new consulate changes as well. Especially looking at the Russian one here, the passive bonus for the Russians is now improves villager train time and cost by 10%, previously just the train time. So that's a really good one if you want to go quite boomy, go for Russia. You also get access to the blockhouse, which is now available in age 1. It does say it's age 2 there, but it's saying it's now available in age 1. The export cost once again is reduced, so that's really good for us. And it now properly trains all War Academy and Castle units, which is absolutely mental. So that's a blockhouse that can train pretty much all of your units in the blockhouse. Hang on, that basically means that you don't really need to build a War Academy. You don't need to build a War Academy. You could just build the blockhouse. You could just get your blockhouse out, and it just saves you wood. You can just use your export instead. I don't know whether that's good or not. I don't know. That sounds kind of crazy. Because you could go for the Russian relations, and you could sort of try and do a little bit of a boom. You could try and use, train as many villagers. You get them out quicker. You get a blockhouse down. I don't know. There's lots to think about here. French relations, this is one where you get the food crates. So they've moved this to the exploration age. So it ships 300 food. Export cost is reduced to 150. Okay. So what you could do here is you could go for the consulate rickshaw as your first card. So rather than going for the Chinese immigrant card, you could go for this. You build your consulate, you get your export, then you ally with the French, and you get 300 food like that. 300 food. You age up really quickly. And you could probably use that. Look, the coin crate it's now moved to the fortress age, and it ships 700. Okay, so you definitely could use that. You definitely could somehow use this to age up a lot quicker and give you that boost. Temple of Haven, the age up one, or the villager age up reward theme has now been reworked to a more general economic one. So yeah, Temple of Haven. So yeah, this one is changing. So you get 3 vills, age 1 to 2. You get a town centre rickshaw instead, and 3 rice paddies, and then 1,200 exports. So you're not getting villagers anymore, which is a little bit of a nerf, I think, because vills obviously provide more value, but we shall see. They're intended to address the treaty game issue. So a lot of treaty players will be happy to see that, that's sorted. And moving on now to the technologies. So the Step Rider, that's been improved. Improvement has been reduced. Sorry. Okay, so that's actually a nerf. Sorry. To that Step Rider card in age 5. And let's have a look at some of the cards. We've actually already run through the cards, so I'm not going to go through those. And apart from these 2 at the bottom, there's some original cards here that have been changed. So instead of just 2 flamethrowers, you now get a flamethrower and a rickshaw. See, I think that's pretty good. I would probably have that rather than the age 2 card that I mentioned. I think that's quite a good card. Definitely have that in your deck. 2 flamethrowers and a castle. I think that's worth it. But we'll see. Moving on now. So that's all of China. Moving on to Inca. Starting resources. Reduced food to 300. So that's really going to impact Inca's aging time significantly. Way more than the Dutch. The Dutch had a 50 food reduction. Now Inca's got 100 food reduction. The units and buildings, the Tambo has fixed an issue preventing the Chasquet from garrisoning. The Cancha now supports 15 pop, down from 16, so a little bit of a nerf there. The Bolus Warriors, their cost has been increased. Damage against infantry has been reduced. And the Chincha Raft. So the build limit now is increased by +6. And industrial down from 8. Maximum build limit is 20. So there is no change to the Huruchas. Now, the Huruchas, which are basically a siege unit, but they're really good at infantry as well. They have a really, really high range resist, and a lot of people have been moaning about the Inca FF into the Hurucha and the Bolus Warrior. We do see a change to Bolus Warrior, which is good, and we do see that sort of big hit there to the food. So hopefully that delays Inca's FF plans, and also it might sort of deter players from going down that route and playing more of an Age 2 Inca. So I think that's okay. Let's see how it goes. Let's see if Inca are still pretty powerful. And we can see also that the Hurucha Infinite cards and the Bolus Warrior cards, these are the main cards that they use to allow them to be really good with that FF. And it's no longer infinite now. So that is absolutely huge nerf there to them. So, and they don't have access to schooners. So, and the Bolus Warriors are reduced to 8. So across the board, huge hits against Inca here. So I'm hoping it levels them out and they don't become too weak and they still become competitive, but not ridiculous in the state that they were in. Now we've got good old Mexico. The latest and the newest civilization has got a few buffs, which is really nice. So we do see that there's now 100 food extra for Mexico. This is going to allow them to age up a lot quicker, which is always good. And the settler build limit has been increased as well. The Soltadors or Salteadors, which are the skirmisher unit, their cost has been reduced. So that's like a 12-13% reduction on food. 10 food off there, which is nice. Damage against villager units has been reduced. The Hacienda build limit has been increased. I don't know how useful that's going to be on a supremacy base. Maybe more for a treaty base, that'd be quite good, but not so much for the supremacy. And the Bandido Dynamite Demolition charged ability now inflicts 0.25 and 0.5 against hand infantry. Hand cavalry, sorry. So let's have a look at the technologies. The Imperial Soltador's attack and hit points has been improved from 40% to 50%. That's really nice. And the second guarantee, the attack and hit points has been reduced to 15%. And the Soldado's train speed reduction has decreased to 30%. Okay. Cards. There's a few card changes here to the Mexicans as well. The Observer one's quite a nice one to look at. So that's improving the Salteador movements. So basically the Salteadors, the skirmishers, have had quite a good buff. And also Mexico have had that significant 100 food starting buff as well, which means that maybe the play is going to be more salties. I call them salties. Salties and insurgents maybe in like an Age 2 play. That would be kind of crazy. So that kind of makes me want to play Mexico again. And also I want to try China, definitely. I want to give China a go and see how they play and whether or not we can use maybe the consulate a little bit more and earlier on with them. So we'll see. There's a few other changes here. I'm not going to go through all of these too extensively, but they are there for you. The refurbished firearms is one that I've just noticed there. It's now it's a charged action, so it's not as overpowered. That was being used when you saw fast industrials. They would get this refurbished firearms, and that will really improve the soldados. And it seems now that it is a charged ability, so that's going to be reduced. And let's go on to there's some revolutionary changes. So this is actually quite big as well. So revolutionary cost is now reduced. So that means that this might actually incentivize Mexican players to start revolting again. Because before, now I think the sort of meta with Mexico is not to revolt as much. It's just sort of to play a normal Age 2, Age 3. So I think the team want people to start using the revolt option. And that is exactly what they're doing here. They're reducing the cost for the Central America and the Baja California, which is interesting. And once again, reducing the return to Mexico costs as well. And yeah, they're just trying to really get people to use it. We'll see how that goes. And United States, finally, the Cowboys. The cost has now been increased to 140. The bullseye charged ability range has now been reduced to 16. And the cooldown is increased to 40. So we're hoping that we won't have the ridiculous cowboy plays, but they could still be around. I think this is... I think their speed should have been adjusted. The Cowboys were just being absolutely ridiculous, but we shall see. We do have a new African map. Look at this. One brand new map here. Lake Victoria. Fight for control of one of Africa's Great Lakes. Look at this. This is kind of awesome. So definitely some water play here, perhaps. I'm not too sure if there's any whales there, but we do have those little islands on the mini-maps as well, which is similar to the other map that I can't remember now. I can visualize it, but I can't remember it. which is really interesting. And obviously they're all native TPs, and it looks like the outlaws are desert warriors and desert archers. And okay, that's really, really interesting. Okay, awesome. Standard map set has actually been changed. So they've added the Lake Victoria, and they've removed the Painted Desert and Sonora. And they've added a few more map changes there. I'm not going to go through the map changes, to be honest with you guys. So feel free to pause this or have a look at it yourself in more detail. And we're going to skip past that. There's a lot of changes. Wow. Wow. Huge changes. Now going to lobbies and matchmaking. So the tooltip for a hosted multiplayer game now correctly shows the number of human players who have readied in the lobby. Fixed an issue where the skirmish screen would not remember the previous map. Saharan routes lost that can now be randomly chosen. Whispers are now filtered for profanity. So not too many changes there. And some AI changes. I'm not going to go through those particularly or too much. Diplomacy menu rework. Okay. Attack or defend command marker spot on the map for the AI to attack or defend. Ask for tribute. Feed resources over time command. Yeah, it's going to try and send you resources every time it analyzes its resource situation and then decide if it can or can't contribute to you. Okay. Interesting. Focus here, plus set a strategy command. Okay, so that's kind of interesting. Very interesting that they're changing that. And there's a whole section here for modders, for modding the game, which is really good. Want to keep that alive so people can try and mod the game and add stuff to it. I'm not going to go through that too much. And let's have a look at ongoing. I always like to have a look at the ongoing part here. And also what's on the horizon. That's interesting. So ongoing, community reported issues. Your reports continue being crucial to our prioritization and implementation of fixes. Keep them coming. For other known issues, please visit this page to see what's being tracked. And I'm just going to go on here. Okay, known issues and solutions. Okay, that's kind of cool. So they're showing, you can't really see a lot of the screen here, but there's like statuses of what's being tracked. So chat rooms, crashes, gameplay. The game suffers from an FPS drop when playing 4v4 using the fast speed. Chinese villagers that are under attack will show the number of attackers as current gatherers. Okay, that's kind of cool. That's really nice. That's really, really good. So they've got like known issues and stuff, and they're showing you what's being dealt with, which is really good. And now we see what's on the horizon. So there's a brand new game mode coming, which is exciting. And the home city customizations for the two Native American civs and performance improvements for low-end systems. So there we go. That's what's on the horizon. There's no new civs coming. Nothing like that, guys. But, you know, that's pretty awesome. All I can say from this is I want to play Mexico, I want to play China, and I want to see how you can use China's consulate now. How you can try and use that. Maybe use the French relations in age 1. You get 300 food. You can probably do a fast age up. I don't know. There's something crazy that can probably be done there to get a quick age up. But as I say, let me know what you think down below in the comments below. Let me know if you think they've gone too far with some of the nerfs, with the changes. And if you found this helpful, useful, interesting, of course, feel free to drop a like. And I'll catch you in the next stream on the next video. See you later, guys.